This program is brought to you by the Travertine Spa Collection. When you need a wellness break from the stress of your day, the natural and organic products from Travertine can help you to treat yourself well. Welcome to another interview on how I changed careers. Why not do your own thing? Today we're talking with Dr. Nancy. Dr. Nancy Irwin was formerly a stand-up comedian, and now she is a psychotherapist. And I want to delve into that a little bit more. Dr. Nancy, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you so much. A pleasure to be here, Terry.
What I want to start with was, I normally ask all the interviewees, if you could share one brief nugget of wisdom, what would it be? And you said change is inevitable. Either affect it or accept it.
Exactly.
Can you speak to that?
Well, the only thing that doesn't change is that there will always be change.
Yeah.
So do you want to be in control of it, or do you want to be at the mercy of it? Wise people expect change, and they develop tools of ways to deal with it. And you know, sometimes we forget, especially when change is thrust upon us, sometimes change can be fun. It doesn't have to be scary, and it doesn't have to be painful. It can be fun. It can lead to something better for you.
Okay, great. I love that, and I think that's why I put that as the heading on the top of your interview. So you started working, I noticed that you had a moment of change, and you said that you were working at a comedy club, and I think the owner yelled at you over a glass or something?
Yes. I always said God hit me over the head with a cocktail glass, and that's what gave me the epiphany. It's true. I was working in this volunteer center for sexually abused kids, and I was going through this process of, I would do with the kids by day and working at the clubs at night, and over the course of a few weeks, the scales started tipping, and I knew I was meant to do something else, that comedy just wasn't fulfilling for me anymore. And it all came to a head one night when I was emceeing at the club, and the manager of the club yelled at me because I think I put a cocktail glass down on the piano or something.
Okay.
And didn't put a coaster. I don't know. He just completely went off, and I'm like, just started laughing. I'm like, this is it. This is preposterous. Here I was working with kids that were committing suicide, and he's getting all upset over a cocktail glass. I'm like, you know what? There's other things in life besides this.
Perspective, right? For me, I was working in law, and I was in this meeting that was completely hostile. The people who were arguing, I was fine. And I left, and I didn't realize I'd become accustomed to seeing people just, And once someone brought that to my attention, that the meeting was great and everything else, I was numb. I thought, I'm just numb to this hostility. And so I'm like, you know what? I think spa is a really nice lifestyle. So I started doing that. That's how it happened for me.
I love that. You made a U-turn.
Yeah, of course. Change doesn't scare me.
Good for you.
How did you start working with the sexually abused teens?
Well, I did choose that. I've always been sort of an active volunteer in my community. There's always been a social worker inside of me. Okay. And so I moved here, and that's always been a cause that's been dear to my heart because I'm a survivor of sexual abuse myself. Mm-hmm. So I started doing that, and it really waked up the healer in me and allowed me to heal my own abuse issues. And I was able to see there's just something else I was meant to do besides just comedy. Now, again, everything is transferable skill.
Yeah.
So it's not like I haven't done a comedy set in probably 12, 13 years now, but I certainly use my comedy when appropriate with my patients. And I use it on stage because I do a lot of public speaking, and of course my book is peppered with some humor. So that's kind of something that helps a lot of us. It's a nice grease for the wheels of life anyway. And so what I want people to know is that everything you've done before is a transferable skill into something else. So it doesn't mean your education, nothing you've ever done is a waste. It all becomes a part of this beautiful mosaic that is uniquely you. How many other people can say they were an opera singer and then a stand-up comic and then a shrink?
There you go. And I think that's great. I had a discussion with someone this morning who was in business, and he's going to law school. And I told him people thought I threw my career away, and I said I've left nothing on the table because I can negotiate. I said argue, but I can negotiate with a Fortune 100 executive or Becky at the nail salon. And most people can't do that and write the contract and trademark for all of it as well and formulate. And so you just bring those things, which I just think is fantastic because I think people don't really get it, think that you're kind of hopping from one whim to another. And I think I like how you put it, is transferable, and it just enriches your life. That leads me into what is a psychotherapist? And I asked that question specifically because I'm sure you get a lot of confusion as to what you do.
Well, a therapist is a person who hopefully has been well trained and has a whole breadth of a whole bunch of different modalities and theories from which to draw upon, which I do. And so I don't favor anyone in particular. I try to meet all my patients in their own path and try to see which one is going to suit each particular patient, because everybody's different. I've certainly got my favorite things, but that may not be suitable for the person in front of me. So hopefully it's somebody who's well trained and has this huge breadth of knowledge from which to draw upon, and is always training and retraining and continuing their education to further their knowledge, because our field is changing at the speed of light, and always will, thank God, because human beings are ever-changing, dynamic creatures. So it's somebody who's at, and we hold a space for someone to search within themselves for the right answers, for the right path for healing. It's not my job to tell anybody what to do. I don't give advice. When I'm doing my job, I'm eliciting from them, gently, what they already know to be true, and they just haven't found yet.
Now, can you talk to, you were working for 5 years on your degree, on your doctorate.
Yeah.
Talk about the motivation it took to do that for 5 years. That's a long time.
Yeah, because I had quit comedy. I couldn't really work on the road anymore when I was in school.
Yeah.
So I took a job. I was an executive assistant for a very powerful businessman who had 2 companies, actually. One was in telecommunications and also real estate. So I was executive assistant, which was not easy. There were long days, but I just kept my eyes on the prize. You know, I was grateful that I had this job. He gave me flexibility to go to class. It afforded me, money to fund school. And I just kept my eyes on the prize, and I was determined, you could be as miserable or as happy as you want to be in any given situation.
Yeah.
A lot of people are miserable being a waitress while they're in college. I was determined I was going to focus on being grateful and learning whatever I could to take that, even though it was unrelated to what I was doing, into this job. And I got to tell you, working for this brilliant businessman, I learned so much about sales and marketing. People could not believe how well I did in my first year of having private practice.
Yeah.
And I owe that completely to him.
And starting your private practice, you really need to get set up.
Well, fortunately, my business is selling a service. It's not a product, so that's a lot easier than any sort of product.
Okay.
I think I opened my business. In fact, I know I did. It was $3,000.
Yeah.
I had a bonus when I left that job. I'm telling you, that's all the money I had after. And then school, please, student funds, don't even get me started there. But to start my business, I had this quarterly bonus that I left the job with, $3,000.
Yeah. I
paid for a lease on my office. I bought a laptop, some used furniture,
Yeah.
a phone, a stapler, the basics, file folders, and I got on the phone. I joined a networking group, and I got busy.
Fantastic.
And you just make it happen. So it was easily with $3,000.
Uh-huh.
Frankly, I don't know how I put gas in the car or food in my stomach that first year, because I'll look back and I see my patient log was like 3 and 5 patients a week. But you know what? When you're driven by love, things just work out.
I agree.
Do.
Yeah, I love what I do, and the fact that I think what I've learned for me is that time is the value of it. I have to work a lot harder than people think I do, but time, I have my own time, I can control what I do. So if I want to fly away, I can.
And don't you find when you love what you do, it's really not work?
No, it's not at all. Back to the comedy side, do you still do any comedy? Or have you left comedy?
I haven't done a set since probably I went back to school in '99, so I think it's been, easily 11 or 12 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't miss it at all. Again, I'm on stage all the time, so I'm, got the ham gene. So I'm on stage all the time, so it fulfills that. But to do a strictly a comedy set, no, I don't miss it. See, when it's your time to make a change, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Nancy, can you, you mentioned your book. Can you tell us the name of your book, and then any of your email addresses or Twitter, anything that people can use if they want to be able to get in contact with you?
Absolutely, thank you. The book is a visual. It's called U-Turn, and that's Y-O-U, because you make the change.
Okay.
U-Turn, Changing Direction in Midlife. It's available on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. My therapy website is drnancyrwin.com. That's just DRNANCYIRWIN.com.
Okay.
And the book website is makeau, that's YOU-turn.com. Got to put the dash in there or else it'll go to like a used tire store in New Jersey. Twitter, I'm on Twitter. I think it's just Dr. Nancy Irwin.
Okay. And if not, you can always write into me, and I can get you information on how you can contact Dr. Nancy.
Absolutely.
Dr. Nancy, thank you for joining us today.
I want to see everybody live a life they love.